In the year 1492, Christopher Columbus discovered the Americas. Millions died in pursuit of conquering this unknown land. The European powers of the time took part in colonization, and the centuries after witnessed remarkable wars and a new age of influence. These events led to the birth of a new nation on July 4, 1776, the United States of America. Since the USA has conquered the world in every aspect possible, from developing the most powerful military in modern history to countless astonishing human accomplishments, the country has earned the name the modern Roman Empire. But can this giant continue its dominance? To understand the story of this fascinating land, we must start from the very beginning: music. Long before European colonization, the native peoples of North America had developed complex and sophisticated systems of society and government. Hundreds of thousands made peace and governed over specific regions, and had done so for thousands of years. By the time the first European explorers began to arrive on the North American continent in the 15th century, the Native Americans had already established themselves and their communities for thousands of years. The North American continent, vast and rich with natural resources, would beckon all who came to know of its shores, and so when a Norse navigator named Leif Erikson learned that there was a land west of Greenland from fellow explorer B. Haraldson, he made preparations to set sail. Haraldson, who had been blown off course while sailing, had accidentally discovered what would one day be called New Finland, and although did not land, his story gave Erikson the information he needed to successfully sail across the Labrador Sea and make landfall in North America. Erikson and the Norsemen would establish a small settlement in Labrador called Lono Meadows, or Meadows Cove. This settlement and numerous small outposts built nearby, it would be abandoned over the course of about 20 years. Afterward, it would be nearly another 500 years before Europeans set foot on the shores of North America. Searching for a more direct and faster route to India, the great European powers of the age sent dozens of expeditions around the globe. In October 1492, the Genoese explorer Christopher Columbus, employed by the King and Queen of Spain, discovered the West Indies and inadvertently opened a new frontier of exploration popularized as the New World by Florentine explorer Amaro Vucci. It was open season for European explorers, traders, and businessmen alike. European powers began claiming sections of this new world as their own with every major exploratory mission. Vucci, who created and sold maps of his own discoveries in the New World, gained the notable distinction of having the entire hemisphere named for him, America. While much the early exploration of the New World focused on what would become known as the Caribbean and South America, it did not take long before explorers turned their attention north to the enormous landmass above Columbus's Hispaniola. At the dawn of the 16th century, the Spanish, English, Portuguese, Swedish, Dutch, and French all entered a race to explore and map the entire east coast of North America. In 1497, Italian explorer Giovanni Cabeddu, known as John Cabot by his English employers, discovered the same region of New Finland that Leif Erikson and the Vikings had settled nearly 500 years earlier. Cabot's discoveries credited him as the discoverer of the North American continent, as no record of Erikson's expedition or settlement had yet been discovered to the south. Expeditions by Juan Ponda, Leon Alvar Núñez Cabeza Daca, and Hernando Dado would map Florida and the American southeast east as Spain prepared to establish permanent colonies in the New World. Likewise, to the north, Jack Cartier explored the St. Lawrence River, while Giovanni de Verzano mapped much of the east coast for France. All along the coast, the Europeans encountered the numerous tribes of Native Americans. Early interactions ranged from welcoming to violent as cultures from separate hemispheres met for the first time, as it had in the Caribbean and South America, for contact introduced these cultures to each other with the sharing of gifts and trading of information. Naturally, these meetings exposed Native Americans to European diseases and caused widespread illness and death. The first attempts to make permanent settlements in the New World began in the mid-6th century with varying degrees of success. Surviving in the New World was not an easy task, and establishing a permanent settlement proved to be exceptionally challenging. In 1585, the English attempted to establish a permanent colony on Roanoke Island off the coast of what is today North Carolina. The journey across the Atlantic was brutal and left the colonists with few supplies. When they arrived, making contact with the local Aquis, Pamela, and Khotan tribes, the colonists subscribe channel World History.